to the cloud. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Yelena, and I'm going to be your Cognos Analytics System Administrator. You're going to use a Cognos Analytics for the rest of this course. Okay, can you hear me? Oh, okay, no problem, no problem. Thank you for confirmation. All right. Anyhow, okay, this is the agenda. I'm going to show you how you access the environment, right? And I'm going to show you how to get started. And I'm going to show you how to navigate through the interface. We're going to talk about the data sets, data modules, data preparation, data exploration, and a lot of fun stuff. So one thing I wanted to tell you is that it's a lot of material, all right? You will need to watch this recording, or maybe at least parts of the recording, more than once. Trust me, you will need to watch this more than once. It's very hard to absorb everything the first time you see it. Okay? So now, what is Yelena talking about? What is Cognos Analytics? Well, the whole idea is the web-based interface. You upload the data, and the software analyzes the relationship within the data for you. It extracts some useful information for you. So basically what you do is nothing but drag and drop the fields into Canvas, right? And it's just gonna throws what it found for you. So basically you don't write any code, no Python, no R, no Java. You just drag and drop into Canvas, and the system will also recommend visualizations based on a field that you're interested in. So as the data is uploaded, it kind of like reads the relationships among the columns, all right? Okay, and well, of course you can do Cognos reporting, but that's a part we don't do in this course, right? But you'll be building interactive dashboard stories, etc., right? Okay, so here, this is important. You don't want to use the browser back button. Please don't do it because you might lose your work. Or any deletions cannot be done, and I will be emphasizing it again and again and again. And remember, there is no recycle bin. It's not similar to deleting file on your PC, okay? Here, so you have visualization where you use data as a source. If you delete the data, all visualizations that you build become permanently invalid. There is no way to replace the deleted data. So just bear that in mind. Now, where you logging in, it's a cloud environment, right? It's a virtual PC, if you will. So you cannot just go and copy paste text directly. You have to use the tool, and I'll show you the clipboard tool. And this is very important. I might sound like a broken record, but you always have to save the work. Always. And please, 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 please do everyone a favor. Start working on assignments early because things pile up in no time. Okay? So now, this is what you're gonna do. If you have not done it already, after this session, take this URL, right? And you're gonna go to, and the instructions also in a assignment, right? In an assignment due next week. So you're gonna take this URL, and it's gonna take you to virtual environment. But wait a minute, you will receive this SSO page, single sign-on page. But here's the thing: if you already logged in to Leo or to another university system such as email in the other browser tab, you might be able to skip this step. But since I'm not, I did it intentionally. So now I have to enter my password, right? This is the same password that I use to access Leo and other university systems. So it's not going to take you to the Citrix workspace. Here, this is a shortcut that it's an application, Cognos application. See this here? IBM Cognos. You're going to click on that, and it's going to open Google Chrome inside the virtual machine. Remember, this is not your PC. Sometimes it's going to take a minute to start, right? But while it's doing that, I'll show you what you'll need to do. This is a login prompt. So here, your user ID is your university username. So most of you probably, that's the first part of your email. You get like something at student.umgc.edu, right? So that's a university username, the first part of the email, right? And this is a password. Well, as a password need to follow certain rules. So I took the word welcome. We're starting it with the uppercase letter. Then I put, well, number 3 is located right above letter E on keyboard. And then I added the special character, okay? Okay. What if we go to VDI? Well, if you don't see the Cognos, then you're gonna submit the Salesforce ticket, and this ticket will need to be escalated. Because, well, what happened was when you register for the course, university has a script that they run to get to decide what you see, okay? Did you click on apps at the top of it yet? Well, Sean, this is what I did was I clicked here. See, this is a citrix screen. You can access it here from data programs, right? You probably see it in the data programs. Or if you go to apps, oh, it's in here, see this? It's also in apps, but also it shows on my homepage. If it does not, then you would need to submit a case and Abel, the TA will escalate it. Oh, okay, okay. You're gonna need to submit the case, okay? We need to see it. Abel, the TA, he's gonna look at it and then he will escalate. But okay. And I'll need to look because I created all accounts for the Cognos. So this is a part what I did here. I did your user ID in here, right? And I did your password. Your password, everybody has the same password. Okay, password is welcome with number 3 and exclamation point. Okay. Well, now here's gonna be a university username in here, right? So let me look. Okay, I'm gonna put my, well, for this demonstration, I'm not gonna use my username because my account with my username is an admin account. We don't use the admin accounts for the demonstration, okay? There we go. Now what we're gonna do, sign in. Okay, well, this is what you see. This demo account has the same permissions that your student account. This is the home page, right? So here, the middle section, this is called a canvas. But what you see in the middle section depends on what screen you're at right now. So this is also the home page, right? So when you click on home, you're here. This is, well, my content is any files that you own, right? Like for example, right now, I have this file, right? It's not visible to anybody else. It's only visible to you, okay? Nobody can change it. Nobody can do anything with it. Team content is what is shared with you. At the moment, you have these folders, calendars, get started, samples, and templates. These files were pre-installed with Cognos application. This part was pre-installed. But this folder here, data for data 610 assignments, this is what I set up for you. Okay, so this folder, you're gonna need to, you will use it a lot, okay? Okay. Oh, the recording. Okay, this session is recording. Okay, being recorded. After this, I will run the recording through Converter, upload it to YouTube, and I'm going to send the recording and all the slides to Professor. Okay, so don't worry, Rochelle, we'll take care of it. Okay, but that's an excellent question. Okay, after this session, after the session ends, I'm gonna give you. You're gonna have the recording. No worries. Okay. Now, okay. Okay, so here it is. Well, and recent is what you accessed recently. And you also see a tile for each file that you recently accessed in the middle section. Okay, but I emptied it just because I want to start fresh. Now here search is when I have a lot of files. And sometimes, well, I have a lot of stuff and I don't know where I saved it. So I can just run this, I can run the search here and it's gonna find me all locations. It's gonna find me all locations, right? That I have access to. This file, right? This is a file, it matches my search criteria, etc. right? This will be useful later in the course when you have a lot of files and you don't remember what you saved and where. So this is a path where it's saved, etc. right? So, and also here, when you do the search, you can filter out if you want to search for exploration, if you want to search for folders, etc. And here, sometimes you don't remember what you call the file, but you remember that you last modified it yesterday. So you can do this, and it will show anything that you last modified yesterday. Well, it's just an example, okay? Okay, all right, okay. Oh, okay, no problem. Yes, because the instructions, yes, but I'm gonna do more than this. So no worries, I'm gonna do a lot today. So, but I have to start from the beginning because, okay, so right now I'm gonna show you what you need to do in your first assignment. Here in the team content, this is what I did, how I organized. This is a data for data 16 assignments. I created a separate folder for each assignment. So for example, next week we have this due, right? Well, even though it's not due until next week, I would strongly recommend to get it out of the way as soon as you can, because you must submit this assignment to unlock assignment 2. Okay? You must submit this assignment to unlock assignment 2. Okay, so I click here. What is it? This is a data file that you're going to use, right? What you'll do is this. You're going to click here, and this one is copy or move. It's partially grayed out, and I'll show you why. Because move functionality is going to be not enabled for you. Because this folder, you have a read-only access, right? But secretly move functionality deletes the file from its original location, right? So this is what you'll do. This is a my content, right? You select my content and you're gonna do copy to. Now I'm gonna show you, if you select move to, you're gonna get an error because you don't have sufficient privileges, because move to delete the file from each original location. So you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do copy to, okay? So now you're asked to verify if the file was copied as expected. You're gonna do to my content, right? And you're gonna see the file here. You're not gonna see claims and weather unless you also copy it from the folder in the team content. Okay, well, look, this here, it shows me where I am right now in the directory. Well, in the team content, this is what I have. Walkthrough data. So if you want to follow along, this is the files that I'm using here and also in the videos. I'll talk about the videos. Okay. Okay. So here, now let's go back to the slides. I need to tell you something else about the data. Oh, this is more, next slide is more of a housekeeping type of thing here, because if you click here, oops, there we go. Well, here, this is the clipboard that you use to copy text. So to copy text from your PC, you would need to copy it here first, and then copy from here to where you need it to be. Okay, just keep that in mind. Okay, you don't need to know how to upload files. Okay, that part was taken care of for you. Okay, it has to do with the permissions and etc. Then you have this full screen. You may find it helpful when you take screenshots. You may need to play around. Okay. Now, so this is here. Oops. Now, this is an interface that I showed you. The links on the right may or may not be working because they already have a newer version and they moved documentation from the server. Okay. Okay. Yes. Exactly. Yes. You need to use the keyboard. Okay, so here I just spelled it out, each area I discussed. Okay, now the next thing is I showed you where to access this preloaded data, right? And there is also a picture like this in the classroom, and also in each assignment, there are instructions on where to get data for that assignment. Okay, now this is the data that we're going to look at today. This is a car, well, claims data, right? The whole idea is that you want to try to estimate the total claim amount, and we know about the customer, we know what state they're from, right? We know some of the demographics, such as like employment status, gender, income, location, etc. Then we have some information on the coverage type for insurance. And the idea is to predict total claim amount, right? You know some insurance information, you know some vehicle information, well, etc. Okay. Now, and also take a look at this. You see that some records are missing values. This is fun because your assignment 2 will also be missing values. Okay. There will be also missing values in the data. Now, in the very first assignment, you are working with the data set, right? And there is a difference between data set and data module. Well, see this is just the CSV file, right? And this is Excel file. At the moment, this is a data set only because I cannot preview the data. There is no way to open it and exactly see. There is no way to apply to create any calculations on the data set, right? And I spelled it out for you in this slide. So basically for the data module, you may customize it. This is what we're gonna do today. You're gonna be adding filters, adding calculations, and etc. And then you use data module as a source for the visualizations, and it can also be used as a source for other data module. All right. You may preview the data directly, and you also may combine multiple data sources. We're not going to do it in this course, but for you, it's for your information. Okay. While the data set, you cannot customize the data, you cannot define anything in the data, right? Well, but the whole idea is this: you're going to be creating multiple data exploration files. But if there is something that perhaps you want to create a calculation that you want to use in all explorations that you create, you have to create that calculation in the data module. Okay. Now, and you may preview data directly and etc. We're gonna get to it now. But okay, I want to make sure I don't miss important steps. Okay, so now we're gonna create a data module. Okay, some of you may think, aha, I've got my data module. I'm gonna go ahead and delete my data set. No, do not delete the original data set because the data module itself has a pointer to it, and I'll show you. So now you're gonna go, this is claims and wares. This is the data we're gonna use, right? Cancel. This is a default action, what you just saw. So here is my content, right? In here, this is the data. I'm gonna click on this menu. And in here, I need to select create data module, okay? Now you're gonna see what's happening. Here, right now it says new data module because I have not actually saved it yet. This is a data set that I used as a source. So if I do something silly and delete this data source, then this data module will become invalid. Yes, believe me, it's gonna become invalid. Here, what I see is a list of columns in my data. Each column has a different icon, and icon indicates the data type of the column, right? Like ABC, more likely that has something to do with the text. So here, this little clock, it recognizes that I'm storing the data in here. Here, it recognizes the location, right? And etc. This is the measure, income, right? And etc. So those are what the columns, right? You might be wondering, where does the row ID come from? It was not in the screenshot that I showed you, right? And it also grayed out. So what this is a hidden column. If the column is hidden, it cannot be used in a visualization. It's not available in a exploration workbook, right? When we create visualizations, this column will be unavailable. However, you can use it as part of the calculations. Any calculations that you define at the data module only, okay? The column is not visible in anywhere else where you use this data module as a source. Because when I do this, look, if I go to the properties, it's going to show you that this is a hidden column, right? So to hide the column, you need to check this. To unhide, you need to uncheck this, okay? But usually row ID is something that you want to hide, usually, okay? And it's an identifier. Aggregation, it tells you how the data is summarized. So for instance, if I want to define the summary function, by default here, it's going to do the count. Each column is a different default, okay? And etc. Well, screen tooltip is in visualization. Sometimes if you hover your mouse over your field, over the column, the tip will display if you enter. Comments, well, this is just represent the row. Well, okay, here, this is something that you do not actually see, right? You might not actually see. It's more like an internal, if you will, okay? So here we looked at the properties, right? In each column, the properties of each column are different. And you may access the properties either by clicking here at select properties, or you may also right click on this column heading and select properties, okay? Well, then you have an option to sort, etc. One thing I need to tell you to be careful, there is a difference between hiding a column and removing a column. So here, well, if I hide it, the column is still here. I'm still able to use this in calculations on the data module. But if I remove it, that's it. It's not here anymore, and you cannot use it in calculations anymore, right? It's more than that. You cannot use it in visualizations. You cannot use it in calculations, right? Well, why would you do that? Sometimes, well, there is some data that you don't want certain people to see, right? You want to see the calculated data, but not the original. There are multiple reasons, okay? Okay, now, like for example, I don't want to see the customer full address. I want to see just the state. It's just an example, okay? Now, so let's go back. So this is how you create data module, right? This is one way. And you may also remember, well, you'll see later. Okay, I'll show you later another way. There are multiple ways to do the same task, okay? So here, well, I just spelled it out for you, but you need to click on a grid, right? You need to click on a grid. A validation, this is something, well, you can, after you add the calculation, sometimes you may need to validate, because if you made an error somewhere, if the data module is invalid, then you're going to have problems with visualizations. We don't want that, right? Also, be careful if you delete the column. If you delete the column, then visualization where you use that column would become invalid. So you have to watch out what you do, okay? Now, so I just spelled this out for you. And another thing that I forgot to tell you, and undo. Okay, you may undo and redo up to 20 last changes. So if you change the properties of the column, perhaps, right? Here are the buttons undo, redo. This is the name of the file. And if you see a asterisk, it means that my change was not saved. And I'm going to go ahead and do save now. File, I'm going to do the save as, and I want to save it as, well, first of all, I have to select my content, and I'm going to say claims and weather data module, okay? And weather. Okay, so now I saved it, right? If you see this little asterisk, it means that you did not save your last change. Okay, now click here. Now we're gonna do, I talked about this, right? Okay, now, well, here I just talked, those are the different properties, and I showed you this label is basically what the column, how the column name that it gets displayed, right? So let me look at it. Properties, this label is what you see on the actual visualization, okay? It may or may not be the actual column name in the original source. You can change the label if you want. Here it's show or hide from users. Expression, well, in this case at the moment, you pull that column straight from the source. We're not changing anything at the moment. This is an attribute, and this is what's going to happen if I do aggregation. If I do data summary, it's going to do count distinct for me. Data type is a text, well, and etc. Right? So each column has properties, if you will. Okay. Now, so this is just okay. Those are different properties for you explained. Now we're going to talk about the data preparation. So you know that the data that is given to you, it's not perfect for analysis. What you could do, perhaps add filters, right? And the filter, what it does, it's gonna remove the data that doesn't match specified criteria. And we're gonna talk about the two types of filters. You may hide certain columns from the view, and we just talked about that. You may change properties. You may handle missing values. And how you handle missing values? Well, you have to look at the situation. You can remove, you can hide the rows that have missing values or filter. You may impute, for example, you may replace the missing value with a column average. Then if most of the column values are missing a value, most of the rows are missing a value in the column, then you probably want to hide that column, okay? How do we find missing values? Well, if you look at the earlier, I'll show you, but if you look at this earlier screenshot, right, you saw that some values were missing. But if you go to sorry guys, I have a lot open here. Well, see this is a null. Thank you. This is excellent question. Missing value here, if you see a null, it means that the value is missing. And for the comparison purposes, this is row number 6. And if I go back to my screenshot of the data, you will see that in the sixth row, I'm also missing the value. Okay. In the row number 6, I'm missing the value. Okay. Well, it's one of the slides where I showed you the screenshots of the data that we're going to use. Well, do you see this row number 6? Or, well, actually, the order of rows that you see it here might not necessarily match the order of rows in Cognos. But what I'm saying in here, wherever you see this blank here, it's going to be null in the database. Okay. Well, yes, it's going to say null. Okay. Yes, you're going to do search for null, and I'm going to show you what we do. Okay. I'm going to show you how to define the filter. There is an operator for this. So we're gonna discuss this in a minute. Okay. Okay, no problem. So now I'll show you how to hide the column, right? I'll show you the easiest part so far. Okay, now what is a filter? Filter specifies the condition that the field needs to meet, right, for the data to stay. To define the filter, we're going to use the expression editor, right? An expression editor basically returns a value, true, false, right? Which determines if the row stays or if the row is filtered out. You may define the filter on a whole table or based on values of specific column. There are two filters. You may define multiple filters on the same data. But here, what you need to remember, there are two types of filters that we can define. Two types, embedded, are defined in the data module and they're applied immediately. That's it. You defined it and it's applied. Selectable filter, you have an option to turn it on and off. You may apply the visualization via drag and drop, but they don't apply right away when you define them. Okay. Remember this, embedded filter defined immediately. It's like embedded, like inside. Selectable filter, they are defined, but you may decide when to apply them. Okay, and I will show you. I promise nobody is going to exit this session today unless you voluntarily exit without the stuff not shown. Okay, now where you define the filter is very important. Okay, so for example, well, you saw that effective date. We had some rows where effective date was missing, and those rows were missing other information, right? So let's say I want to keep only the rows where effective date is not missing, right? So we have to define the filter, and we call it effective to date is not missing, right? What type of filter do we need to use? We need to use embedded, because I want the filter to be automatically applied, right? But also it's the steps, how you do it. You have to here, this is a data, right, that we used as a source. You have to right click here and manage filters. Remember, very important. This is one at the bottom you select, okay? Now here, instead of column, you want to select wire expression editor. We're gonna use an expression editor here. Now you're going to click on add a filter. It's going to open this expression editor. What do I see in here? Filter name. Again, extremely important. You must use descriptive filter name. Let's say, what do I call it? Must have effective to date, right? So I'm going to type it in here, must have effective to date, okay? And you saw that I had data where effective to date was missing. Now I have to build my expression. What do I have in here? Here is a list of columns, right? So now we need to find effective to date. See, this is very nice. I don't need to read through the whole list. I can type in and it's gonna find it for me. I take this and I can drag and drop here. Effective to date. Now I have an operators list. There are different types of operators, summaries, etc. Now I know that I need to look at something like is not missing, right? So it's gonna be, well, I can do this, is not missing, something like that, right? Here it is, operator is not missing. Effective to date is not missing. So this is the filter that I defined. Now I have to check, validate is checking the filter syntax, because if I spell something wrong, right, it's gonna give me the syntax error. I need to make sure this is right. What do I do next? Am I going to click on the X button? No, because the filter won't be saved. I have to click on OK button here, right? And you want to make sure you see this green check mark. It says expression is valid. If not, it means something was done wrong, okay? Well, here is my filter. I realized that I may have forgotten to add something, right? I need to edit it. Well, you're gonna click on this here, and this will take you back to the filter expression editor. This is an embedded filter because now if I'm looking at my data, you're not gonna see the missing values for effective to date. So what may help you is that it may help you to write down the row ID perhaps, right, where the effective to date was missing. After you apply the filter, go back and see if you see that row. Well, maybe writing down the row ID won't do it because the row gets sort of like renumbered, if you will. But you may write down the customer, and that customer is going to be gone, right? If the effective due date is missing. We're filtering out the rows, okay? Well, and here, this funnel means that you have an embedded filter defined. Okay, so this is an embedded filter. It's applied right away in a data module. You have no other choice, right? You cannot turn it off. It's just on, okay? Now, we're going to talk about the selectable filter. And in here, suppose that I want this condition. I want, sometimes in my visualization, I want to look at the personal policy type with a small vehicle. I want to look only at personal policy type records that have a small vehicle, right? So what I'm saying is that policy types contains personal and vehicle size contains small, right? So now I'm going to use copy and paste intentionally. All right, but what I need to do here is that because it's a selectable filter, when I click here, I have to select it here. I have to select this, okay, filter. Now it's taking me directly to expression editor. I'm gonna copy my expression. Oh, wait a minute, you cannot copy like this, right? You're gonna catch yourself doing this multiple times. So what I have to do is I have to go to the clipboard and I have to paste it here, okay? So this is a copied content, okay? And here, do you see an error? Do you see the Microsoft Word quote? And I'm gonna show you what's gonna happen now. I leave it intentionally, okay? Okay, well, see here now, well, first of all, the first indication here, this is not green, right? Usually it uses different color code for the strings. The second indication is this, when I'm gonna do now validate, it's gonna give me an error, okay? Well, and the reason I'm getting an error is because here, this code, okay? So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna validate it again, and this is fine. So here, well, this is end, so it means that you have to have these two conditions to be true, right? Contains is one of the operators, right? It's an operator called contains, and this is case sensitive. I just know how it's spelled, but in reality, you would probably want to convert to uppercase and search for the, in reality, you would probably want to do this one converted to uppercase and put uppercase here because you don't want your search to be case sensitive. But let's just leave it as is for this one. Well, end condition, it means these two must be true, right? And if either of them is false, then the row won't be displayed. But okay, first of all, here we have to create a name, right? We have to add a name. But I would say the name must be descriptive, and I'll show you later why. So let's say it personal policy for small vehicle, right? Something like that. Okay. This is a filter name. You have to use a descriptive name, otherwise, you'll see the problem later. Okay, here it is. And I'm gonna do, well, another thing that you could do is when you check in the code, well, you have an option to, well, this is a preview, not the preview, but there is an option, this is called the prettify. So what this is gonna do, it's just gonna do some little bit of formatting for you, okay? Now we're gonna go down and we're gonna go okay. And very important, I forgot to save. How do I know that I forgot to save? I see this little asterisk, right? Okay, I'm gonna save that. It's all saved right now. We're good now. Now take a look at this. Here, it's a filter looks like it's another column, right? In here, I can go back to, well, I can go back to the properties. Look, here, view filter, I can edit it still, right? Well, no problem. I can just go in and edit it. But wait a minute. It's not going to be the case later. I'll show you something. Okay, you see this now. If you need to edit it, it's editable. However, if I create the data exploration file, which we will shortly, I cannot edit this, okay? I cannot edit this definition. Well, I better use descriptive name because then I won't be able to see what this is, okay? So we did that. And then when I look at the data, it's not, the filter is defined, but the filter is not applied. Why is that? It's because it's a selectable filter. I want to be able to select when to apply it, but I don't want to be defining it multiple times. I want to use it, but I don't want to apply it, right? So if you look through this data, you're gonna see that not only the small vehicle type stays here, there is also the, well, see this, it's not only the personal, it's also the corporate policy type, etc., right? Well, didn't Elena just define the filter? But didn't Elena also say that this is a selectable filter? Okay, so just remember this, okay? And here we kind of like to cover two topics in one, where I showed you how to create embedded filter, and I also showed you one way to handle missing values at the same time. Okay, now we're gonna do another way to handle missing values, where well, you're not gonna be hiding the rows in this case, because, well, hiding the rows also means you're losing key information. In the earlier case, it was fine because the same rows were missing values in multiple fields. Now what we're gonna do is, I want to say this. If income is missing, I wanted to set it to the column average, okay? If income is missing, I'm gonna set it to the column average. Otherwise, keep it as is. So this is a logic, right? Well, what I need to do is I need to edit an expression for that column. So here, and I'm gonna search for income, right? This is my income. I'm gonna go here, properties, and this is your edit expression, right? So basically it says here I'm taking the income from the spreadsheet, right? And what else am I doing to it, right? Viewer edit, I'm gonna do this. Now what I need to do, let's do this. I have this here. I have it's gonna be in the construct, and I'm using it if then else, right? If then else. Let's copy it here. If condition. So what is a condition? The condition is what? Income, right? Income. And what about income is what? Missing, right? If income is missing, then something, otherwise we're gonna keep income as is, right? So it's in here, income as is. Okay, now, well, what is an expression in here? What do I want to do in here? I want to take an average. And what is the average? It's in the summary, right? I want to put an average, and I'm going to delete this thing here, average. And what is the average of what? Of income, right? I want to take the average of income. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's validate this, because Yelena makes errors too, sometimes intentional, sometimes not. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do this prettify. Well, because it's easier for you to read, okay? This is an expression. We keep this as is because we don't want to create new column at the moment, right? It's the same column, but I'm editing the expression, and I want to click OK to save the changes, okay? There we go. So now, if you look at this column, it's gonna do, see this is probably where it's doing the average. Sometimes you may want to do the rounding, you know, but I'm gonna leave it for you to explore. Well, so this is the income, see? You might be wondering why I don't see all the columns in here, because you have a search. Once you clear the search, you see all columns here again, okay? Well, so what I just did, I showed you how to replace the missing value with a column average. I'm gonna go now back to the slides. Okay. Well, next thing, we're gonna do the creating exploration from the data module. We're gonna do that now. Okay, so yes, so we need to create, well, income of 0. Well, you could create another rule to deal with income of 0, but in general, if income on 0, you might be unemployed. Okay, 0 is not missing, but your income is 0 when you're unemployed. Well, example, when I was a high school student, when I moved to United States, I was unemployed. My parents were unemployed when we moved to this. Okay, so that's a thing. Okay, no problem. Well, I'm just giving you an example, right? Somebody just moved to the country or somebody lost a job. So your income, yes, no problem, no problem. It's an excellent question. So, okay, now here, this is what's gonna happen though. If you go back and forth between data module and exploration, you want to make sure, and I did not make sure, that all my changes are saved. Just click on the floppy disk and it's gonna save, right? I need to make sure that I save the changes, and I'm gonna, well, I prefer closing the file, just my preference, okay? Every time when you need to go back to edit the data module, you want to close the data exploration, and vice versa, okay? Okay, yes, this was an example, excellent, yes. Okay, now, what we're gonna do, this is my content. I'm going to create a data exploration, but I'm gonna use this data module. I'm not working from the data set. You will be working data set only from the first assignment, because first assignment, the idea is to show your professors that you know how to access your account. Just a checklist, okay? Now here, claims and weather data module, I'm gonna do this, create data, create exploration. Well, let's gonna see what happens. Well, here there are multiple options to cover the material in different order. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So what is here? That looks familiar, doesn't it? So, well, this is the data that was used as a source, right? We're gonna talk about navigation paths, don't worry for right now. What is this guy in here? Take a look at it. If I click on the properties, there is no way in the world to see how I defined it. To see how I defined it, I would have to go back to what? Data module, right? So no way in the world just to click and see. So this is the reason why you have to use a descriptive name here, okay? And here you see all of your columns. If we created another calculation, it would show here, but we will later. Okay, so here it is, right? This is a selectable filter that you will be able to turn on and off in your visualizations. I do not see embedded filter. Notice that it's not listed in here because it's embedded, defined, and applied. That's it, you know. Okay, I do not see row ID because that column was defined as what? Hidden, right? That was defined as hidden. So you're not going to see it in here, right? Well, then let's see. what do you see? This is, look, I click on this. When I created data exploration, I click on a file in my content, right? Alternatively, I could access this file from reasons. Just keep that in mind, okay? But see this, if you update the data module after you so now I'm going to create an exploration. After this, if I update the data module again, I would have to reopen the data exploration to see the changes. So if I was going to go to data module right now and create a calculation, in order to see that calculation, I would have to restart. I would have to close and reopen my data exploration. Okay, does it make sense? So now, well, some of this material can be covered in different order, but let's look at this side here. Okay, well, some housekeeping again, you can close the panel. Okay, well, what is this? Let's see what is this is. And you need to, trust me, you're gonna need to play around with the zoom. I'm gonna minimize so that I can see the column names. What this does is explore a relationship in your data. Well, you see every column is represented as a little circle, and the column, the purple in the column that is dark blue, this is a total claim amount. So when Cognos was running analysis on the data, it determines that more likely when I do analysis, I'll be interested in predicting the total claim amount, okay? Well, those are other potential targets that I could use. And when I click on each target, this is going to readjust for me, okay? But, well, of course, all this data, I want to predict the total claim amount, right? Now, some of these columns, you see the arch connecting the columns, and the thicker the arch, the stronger is the relationship between two columns, okay? For example, see this here, I have a line between employee status and total claim amount. And if I hover, it's going to tell me relationship strength is 50%. Okay? Yeah, the thicker it is, the stronger is the relationship. Exactly. Some of them are said, well, and some of they may not have the, like, for example, see this vehicle class and coverage, there is no line that is directly connecting them, but you can still get to it if you traverse this thing. See vehicle class, monthly premium, coverage. Well, if you traverse, you can still get to it, but there is no like direct relationship. Okay. Also, you have to read this diagram, right? You need to know how to read this diagram. And also, I believe there is a threshold. If the strength is below the threshold, it's not going to be listing it, okay? Now, what I can do, look, I clicked on this target, and when I did it, it's going to give me the set of suggested visualizations. Earlier, I mentioned summarize, and this is what I do not like here. For total claim amount, the default summary is it's taking the sum of all claims amount. I don't like it because, well, it doesn't really make sense. I want to see the average total claim amount. You can still change the property here, but if I do that, it only be applied to this data exploration file. If I was going to create another data exploration file, I would have to redefine this, right? Alternatively, I could go back to my data module and fix this at the data module, right? And what do I need to fix? Well, I have to go to this properties, and there is an aggregation, and I want to set it to the average, okay? So here, this is the average, and I'm gonna do close. Well, let's see what it did. I'm gonna close this. Okay, you might have to play with opening, closing panels for the screenshots. Well, now this is what I want. It's go showing me the average. Okay, well here, those are the predictors. Well, this is a driver analysis. This is the predictors of the total claim amount, right? So let me go ahead and click. When I click on this, it's gonna add visualization to my workbook. And visualization is added as a card, and each card will appear here. See, this is where you click on this compass here icon, and you're gonna see all of these visualizations that you have. Now in here, well, you can select more, right? Anything, like you can click see more, and it's gonna give you more. Well, and if you want to include something, you just click on this, okay? You just click on this, no problem, it's gonna be added. And when you select the specific visualization here, by default, what it's gonna do is, it's gonna try to see which other related visualizations you might be interested in, and you can add those related visualizations to the exploration. Also, now here, well, I'm gonna close this related. Well, Cognos, well, it's gonna analyze this visualization, and it's gonna show you insights that it's going from this visualization. It's giving you here the average claim amount, and you see the average here. Well, you're looking at the different location code, okay? So that's giving you insight, but that's not something you just copy and paste. You can explain it in your own words. This is what's called the data slots. Here you specify the columns that you're using for the bars and the columns that you're using for the lengths. If you see this star next to the slot, it means that the column is required, and I'll show you how to create visualization from scratch. Well, if you see the star, the column is required, or visualization won't show anything, if you will, okay? One thing is that you cannot change the color code. It shows in blue, then it's blue, you know. Here, color does not change the color code of the visualization, but what it will do is this, like here, I can do this, like color by state. You're gonna see, just gonna add this. Oh, why I have to do this color? Well, okay, I did something, I don't like what I did. This is what I can do. Well, remember, I undo up to how many changes? 20, right? So I'm gonna do the state. Well, you really have to make sure that you highlight the slot. You have to make sure that you really highlighted the slide, the slot. Well, this sometimes it's like I have to be really patient with this. Now look at this. You see this? The slot is highlighted, right? When the slide is highlighted, this slot, you have to move it here. It's difficult, but well, color by, it's just gonna show you separately each state. Okay, and it's gonna show you the legend. Here, well, you can select what inside you want to see, right? And that's the details, get more stuff now. There are two cards, and this is card number 2. Here, you can pin visualization. We're gonna talk about pins more. It will make sense when you do the displays, right? Pin is basically similar to favorites. Well, this is the select tool, delete, you know. Then you can add new visualization and etc. Okay. What did I do? I just selected a specific data point. That's why it's doing this. But well, here, if you click here, it's going to show you the data that is being visualized. This is the data that is being visualized, and this is the whole data set. So you can preview data here. See, you can still preview your data here. Okay. And you could even see, I believe you could even see the properties. You can see the column properties in here too. But if you modify something, it will apply only to this exploration workbook, okay? Now, so let's see where we are with the slides. Oh, well, here I'm showing you the different data exploration, and I'm spelling out the interface changes. And we're gonna talk about the ask question things, okay? I showed you how to turn the insights on and off, right? Well, how to navigate to insights, between insights and slots. I showed you this, right? Okay. Well, here I showed you how to add visualization, right? Well, there are multiple ways. So, okay, if you go back to here, that's where we were. We were here before, and let me minimize this. Well, I can select multiple columns, the control click, and it's gonna adjust visualizations based on what I have selected, right? And you can select anything that you think might work for your analysis. or well, this is just to the starter, right? This is just the starting point. Right, I can just get this. Something like this, okay? Well, that's what it's saying here. This is a starter, and then you can add more visualizations by one way is to look at the related visualization. But this is not it, right? Comparison, we're going to talk about it later. But okay, we're going to talk about you may create new visualization by explicitly selecting the visualization type. So let's do this. Well, I'm going to do this new single. Now I'm going to go here. I'm going to choose type. For the type, I'm going to scroll here and I want to do the spiral. Well, because I wanted to talk about the spiral visualization at the same time. So for the spiral, we have to have a target. Target is what we are predicting, right? So if we're going to go here and okay, now it listened. Here, each this is a driver. Driver is a column or combination of columns that can be used as that is a predictor, right? Of the, in this case, it's a total claim amount. So what actually drives, what actually affects what our total claim amount is? That's what it is, right? There are one-way drivers, two-way drivers, and a combination. This means the driver consists of multiple columns, more than two. One thing is that you can toggle this to see it only two-way and a one-way, okay? Yeah. Yes, this is initially generated by Cognos and you can customize it, that's right. But there is something important here that I want to point out. I'm gonna toggle this. I hide the 3 or more way drivers. I'm gonna hide these two-way drivers. This is a one-way driver. Later on in this demo, you're gonna see decision trees. But what I'm doing right now, I want to show you this. The one-way driver that has the highest strength is going to be used as a first split of your decision tree model. You're gonna get to the decision tree, but I want to show you this. The driver, the column, right? The predictor that has the highest predictive strength, right? Single column predictor. This is going to be your first column that is used in splitting for decision tree. We're gonna talk about the decision tree, but just remember that decision tree has a first split, right? It splits. This column here, vehicle class, it's gonna be the one that is used for the first. Later on, check if you land a light, okay? Well, and here you can turn things back on and off, okay? Well, you cannot do like, well, if I click here, I cannot see additional visualizations. I have to access them differently, okay? If you click on details, probably you won't see it here, but well, you know that. So this is a bullseye. And the closer this little pin to the core, the stronger is the predictor. One thing to note that anything with predictive strength below 10% will be omitted. Okay. Well, here just list the target name, right? And you can do new visualizations by edit related visualizations. Okay. Oh, yeah. One thing that I forgot to do and nobody reminded me is to save the file. I'm gonna do save as, and I have to say, well, first of all, I know it can kind of a little bit annoying. By default, it selects a team folder, but you want to select the personal folder, okay? And you're gonna save it as claims and weather exploration, okay? Exploration. Okay, I'm gonna hit on save. Okay, so that's one way, right? I select what I want, I specify the fields that I need, done. Now, next thing what I could do is this. Let's see, I'm gonna do new, right? So this is new. I can go and drag and drop. Look, like for example, I want to look at the income. Watch what I'm doing. I'm just gonna go click here. It's gonna by default, it will select what I think I may want to look at. So this is a sum of everybody's income. Oh, no, that's not what I want to look at. Oh, what I'm gonna do now? I did something wrong. I have two options. I can go back here and I can modify the columns that I want to look at, right? Or I can just do I can just do delete, and then I can undo the new, okay? And I can look at something like, perhaps I want to look at the location code. Let's see what it's gonna do. It's gonna just list location codes because I did not specify anything, right? So default, I think this is speaking just the list, right? I did not specify, I did not put the color, I just specify the columns, okay? I did not do anything. But if I do this, and then if I go back and I do this, drag and drop again, I might be getting something here. See, this is gonna give me average total claim amount by the location code. Well, what did I do? I drag and drop 2 columns. That's it. Isn't it easy? Right? I just drag and drop, and it just added the card in here. A new card was added in here. This is a card, right? Each visualization is a card. I'm gonna save it now, and there is an alternative approach in here. You might like it or you may not, but I'll show. Well, this is an assistant. The whole idea eventually is that you want to type question in natural language and the application to answer the question for you. So let's go ahead, let's gonna type some, well, first of all, suppose you don't know what data you have, you're gonna just do this, right? Then if you want to look at claims and weather data module, it's equivalent to running this command. You can type show source and then put the name of the data module. So this is this command that you're secretly executing. It's going to give you the list of columns in a table. Also, it's going to give you the in the data module. Sorry, I have to use correct vocabulary. And then it's going to give me the data type. It does not tell me what the outlier is, but it's going to tell me it has an outlier. So outlier is extremely large or extremely low value. Like for example, suppose that we had a test, most of the students got A and B, but then we have one student who received only 50%. That student is an outlier because the score is totally different, okay? Completely different, if you will. Okay, now here it just tells you like claim amount, it's monetary, like this one is a measure. I want to look at the column in more details, but well, before I do it, I click on more, it's gonna list the remaining columns. More, less, etc. Right? You can toggle, but let's see here. I want to look at total claim amount. I'm going to click on this, and it's gonna give me the column properties. Okay. Now here it's just telling me here additional columns of those are the fields that are related. These fields are related to the field I'm looking at right now, right? So perhaps it's suggesting me that there is a relationship between total claim amount and individual marital status, right? When I click on the marital status, what it's gonna do now, it's gonna give me the visualizations. Behind the scene, it's gonna run this show chart, and it's gonna put the column name and the data name, okay? Data module name. So here are different visualizations that I might choose from, okay? Well, see this? There are different visualization types, and I might choose any of them. So I'm gonna just do new card, and I'm just gonna go this and drag and drop. So this is gonna show this visualization here. Just drag and drop, okay? Well, if you don't like something, you can always change this, okay? You have the details and you have the data slots that you may always alter, okay? Well, see this rows is required, values, those are the required columns. So we have to specify the required at least. Now, earlier we created a filter, and suppose that I want to look only at the small claim types for personal vehicle. Now is a time when I can do what I want to do. I can go to this here, oops, yeah, here. See this is a filter, and I want to apply it. So I have to take this and I have to drag and drop, okay? Local filters, and I just apply it. Well, in your first assignment, you're asked to create a filter, but you're not asked to do it at the data module level. It's just basic filter at visualization, okay? You're not asked to do data module for the first Cognos assignment, okay? Here, well, this is a local filter. See this? Well, the data is filtered personal policy type for small vehicle. Okay. Well, it's hard to see it, I know, but what we could do is we can add more columns, right? Or we can change it here. Instead of marital status, I want to see the policy type. How do I do this? Well, I have to remove the column, right? And then in the rows, I need to find the policy type, right? And I need to drag and drop. This is what I do here. This is a rows policy type. Well, see this? Well, do you see this? Why did it happen? It's because I wanted to look only at this at the small claim. I want to look at this. This is the small. It's a personal auto, right? I applied this filter here because I want to see only personal policy for the small vehicle type, right? Well, in order to illustrate how the filter works, what I did was I drag it and drop. So you see this? Now, if I no longer need it, I can just go ahead and I can remove this, right? I just remove this. Oops, I did something wrong. I removed the wrong column, so I'm gonna undo. Okay, and this is a local filter. I'm going to click here. I'm gonna say remove, right? This is how I unfilter it. Okay, I'm going to save this now. Well, let's see where we are, because I don't necessarily now go with the slides because, well, okay, well here I point out that this is a data, this is not a data model, and this will be updated depending on which column you select as a target, okay? And you need to hover over the connecting line to see the strengths of the relationships. Well, here I just showed you how to get visualization to your exploration workbook, right? You just click on this plus, right? Sounds easy on paper, huh? Now, this is more an embedded assistant. I'm gonna click here. All of the stuff that I did is saved, right? Unless I click here to clear. Well, I can. There is an option to clear it, right? I'm not gonna do that, but I have an option to reset. Reset is gonna clear everything here, all history. But if I want to rerun the command from the history, I would have to click on this and click enter. It's gonna run the command. Remember that show tables, right? And I spelled it out for you. Different commands. Well, in here, I'm spelling it out, okay? This is a command you entered. It's showing you the data source that matches, right, the data name. And here is the columns, right? And I can drag and drop the visualization, okay? I'm just showing you, it's a different visualization here, but the concept is the same, right? And here, well, this is a list of clickable columns, and the fields it's going to give you the fields that have the greater influence, and you may click on a column to see the visualizations, right? Well, here it is. I just spelled it out that you can check the inside, etc. Okay. If you type this command by itself, show total claim amount and coverage, it will attempt to look for the data sources where you have those columns. Okay. Now, next thing is this navigation path. Well, navigation path is a hierarchy. Now I'm gonna do example with 2 levels, but there is a set of videos that I will show you. There is a video on navigation path, and it's a hierarchy of 3 levels. Well, basically, the way I usually explain this, I use data 610 as an example. First level of the hierarchy is gonna be data 610. Next level is gonna be the sessions that you are in. And next level is going to be perhaps assignment, right? And I want to look at the assignment average grade. So I want to drill through. I want to be able to look at the individual assignment. Then I want to look at the specific assignment. I can do roll up to see the specific session. What is the average grade for assignment 1, perhaps in session 9080, right? Something like that. And then I want to see perhaps overall average, right? I want to do something similar in here. I want to look at the state, and then I can look at location code within the state, okay? And in this case, I want to look at number of customers, I think, yes. Navigation path, you can define it in the data modules, and it will be available everywhere else where you use it as a data. but I'm gonna define it in the exploration for right now, just to show you that these calculations can be defined in exploration also. So I'm gonna close this guy in here. Oh, and you notice this assistant is also here. Okay, this is a small version of it, but it's the same. Now here I'm gonna go to my data, which is here, and I'm gonna do the new navigation path, right? Now I'm gonna find my fields, and I believe my field was a state code or state. I'll try to use the same thing in here. State, okay. Well, I can just do select this and drag and drop, right? I've got the state and then I have the location code, right? This is a location code and this has to go under. Notice that it's gonna name this navigation path for me, right? So it's state and location code, okay? I'm gonna click on okay. Now what we're gonna do is this is navigation path. I'm gonna first save, then I'm gonna create new visualization. I'm gonna do new, I'm gonna add new card. I'm gonna do choose type, and I'm gonna do this heat map. Where is that? Well, I wanted to show you that you can drill through, right? We can do the tree map. Now what I'll do is this area hierarchy. The area is by the state, but notice that I select this state. I select this state, not that state, not this one, but this one, because I want to be able to do what? Drill down. And what is the size? I want to look at the number of customers. This is the size. Okay. Well, now I have each rectangle. The size of the rectangle is proportional to the number of customers. And how do I know that it's a number of customers? If I click here, if I go to the summarize, I'm gonna see it's doing count distinct. So that's the number of customers, not number of claims, but number of customers. Remember, the same customer may have multiple claims. Okay. Now, what I can do, this is a hierarchy. So I'm just clicking on this, right click, right? And then here is an option. Well, do you see the drill down? And when I drill down, I'm gonna see the data by location type, right? In this state. So this is a location type. And the state is set to what? See this? I can click here, it's a Missouri. Now here, this is the data that is visualized. You see this is a state in Missouri. This is a location code, and this is a number of customers in that area, okay? And then I can go back. I'm just gonna do here, and this is a go back, okay? It's gonna take me back to all states, okay? Well, this is just for you, and there is an example with 3 columns, okay? That's how I usually do it. For this demo, I pick something with 2, like a little simpler, and then more for the visualization, because by the time you watch the video, you probably absorb this, okay? So that is the hierarchy that is spelled out in here, okay? Now let's go here. Now we're gonna look at the calculation. You can do, well, actually here, no, I usually do it in different order. I'm gonna look at the calculation later. First, let's take a look at the decision tree visualization and driver analysis. Here, I usually switch order all the time. I'm not sure in which order to cover it, but since I'm here now in the data exploration, let's go ahead and let's do this. I'm gonna go to the new. Okay, so here are my cards, right? My visualization card. I could also, I believe I could also edit from, well, no. Okay, so let's do this new single. This time I'm gonna do the decision. I'm gonna do the decision tree, right? Which is, oh, oops, choose type. And I'm gonna find this, it's in the analysis group. Okay, here, advanced analytics, I'm gonna do the decision tree, okay? And Well, right now, well, minimize, I don't see anything because there is an asterisk next to the target and I didn't specify what my target is. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna find my total claim amount and I'm gonna drag and drop in the targets, okay? Now what I see, well, this is a decision tree, right? And what did I tell you earlier? I told you earlier that when we look at the driver analysis, the column, the one driver that has highest predictive strength is going to be the first splitting column, right? So this is a tree, little housekeeping. We're going to close this, and we're going to close this panel also. That gives us more space. The tree consists of nodes, and the nodes can be collapsed. I'm going to collapse them now because I want to show you this. Look. Vehicle class, as promised, right? It's the first column that is used for the split, okay? Yes, this is assignment 3. Yes, well, there is little bit about it in assignment. This week assignment, you have to do this little bullseye thing. Yeah, but this is assignment 3. Yes, there is a little bit of, it's very difficult to tell in which order is better to present stuff because you want to be going back and forth between data modular and this as less as possible. But well, this is a visualization, okay? And you may collapse. And this is my recommendation actually. You expand collapse. If you want to, if you're discussing portion of the tree in the paper, you want to just take a screenshot of that section of the tree. You can do expand collapse, okay? Now, this is a total claim amount. The color code represents the average total claim amount. The darker color stands for the higher average total claim amount. And what this do is this. Well, first of all data is represented by the root node, right? And it tells me the overall average claim amount, right? And it matches, when we looked at the average claim amount earlier, it should match this. Here, I also see the standard deviation and I see how many records it applies to and the percentage. So here is all data, right? Here, I'm looking at this column. I'm gonna ask him question. Is it a two-door vehicle or is it a SUV sports car or is it a luxury car? Based on this question, right, based on the answer, I take the pass that I should take, right? For example, suppose that my car is two-doors car. I'm going to select this here, and it tells me the average claim amount of all cars that fall under this category, right? All vehicle class. It's all vehicles that are two-door car or four-door. Well, everything that falls here, right? It's their average, the deviation, the percentage of data that falls into that category, right? Or represents, right? This category. Now, next one, I'm going to look at employed. Well, first of all, there are other important predictors. Then also take a look at how many records do I have in here. This I can still go more. I can still use another predictor because it's not less than 25. I believe 25 is the limit. So if you split and you have less than 25, it means you have to go back. Okay. Now, well, this one is employed. Employee status. Well, you see this employed and etc. You might be wondering why do I see more nodes coming from employed, but I don't see any more nodes coming from these two nodes. Well, it's because I collapsed. I can expand this and I can collapse this. Okay. Well, this has to do with visibility. And then here I have monthly premium auto, right? And I have more here. So I have several factors. At the end of the tree, this is a leaf node. This is called the leaf node. And if I hover over the leaf node, it's gonna give me the average. It's gonna give me the average claim amount, total claim amount for that node. It's gonna also tell me how many observations it applies, also the percentage observations. Okay. Well, this is what it did. It's vehicle type small and etc. Okay. Now you can also expand this. But this is going to be, this here is less frequent. You'll see why. I looked here at the visual representation and you can play around. Well, you can play around in here. You can look at perhaps type lowest value, type highest values. Well, you can, well, look, you can turn on and off. You can, yeah. So see this? You can look at the top, highest, etc. Now, well, there is a rules representation. Basically, it tells me average predicted value, and this is a description of the vehicles that falls under this category, okay? So like luxury SUV, okay? So this is just describes the cars that on average will have this predicted claim amount. In other words, suppose that I know this information, right? I know the vehicle class, I know the employee status, I know the effective due date, right? I have this information. Well, suppose that I have a new car, right? I have a new claim, new car, brand new. And how would I predict what my total claim amount is, given I know the vehicle class, employee status, effective due date? Well, what you could do is this. You could traverse the tree starting from the root node. You're gonna ask yourself this question. What is a vehicle class, and take the parse based on that. What is employee status? And you continue. You kind of like take the correct branch and you navigate all the way to the right until you hit the leaf node, okay? Then there is also a limit on number of nodes in the tree. I think it's 36. It's on one of the slides, you'll see. Okay, now, well, here, this is important to understand, but let me collapse the tree first. You have different visualizations, right? This is a tree. We looked at the rules too, right? Didn't we? Here, now we're going to look at something else. This is a sunburst visualization. Well, I like the tree emphasizes what the actual rules are. The sunburst visualization is going to tell you the proportion, right, of the cases to which this rule applies, right? So now, well, if you go to here, sunburst, well, first of all, look at what I have expanded here. I have vehicle class, and I have this three. I have it expanded. So I expect to see, what do I expect to see? Well, sunburst diagram is like a circle, right? Where each column is represented as an arch, right? Well, I expect to see an arch for vehicle class, and the arch should contain 3 sections, right? Well, these are the 3 sections that I should see on a sunburst diagram. Let's see if this is the case. Yes, it is. See this? Well, it has a circle for vehicle class, and for the vehicle class, there are 3 classes here. By looking at this, you can see that we have only few people who fall under this. See this? We have only few people who fall here, and majority here. Okay. Well, sometimes we want to find the rule that represents the data the best. In this case, first of all, you've got a 2-door car, right? Those are the vehicles that are more likely to those are the rules that more likely to represent our data, okay? Well, next step, perhaps I'm going to go to the tree diagram, and I'm going to expand this, and I'm going to collapse these guys, okay? Expand this. Now I'm expecting to see the second layer, second circle, but I'm going to see I'm going to see only part of the arch that's right under this. Well, let me show you. Now I'm not covering the whole circle. I'm only breaking down this part into employed, unemployed, and etc. Yes, I'm only breaking down this part. I'm not breaking down each one here, just this one, okay? Or I can just go back, I can do this, and I can do this. Well, do you see that? And I can, okay, see now I have a 3 layers. My sunburst is going to be 3 layers too. Well, I'm taking that node, right? And that was I'm breaking down, okay? 2-car, 4-car drive. I'm breaking that down, and how I'm doing it? First of all, I'm breaking it by employed and unemployed, and etc. Right? Then here, I'm taking another piece. I'm taking employed, and breaking down by 2, okay? Basically, the idea of this visualization is to show the proportion of data, right? It's a portion of data to which the rule applies, okay? That's what it does, where diagram is more focused on visualizing the rules, okay? I hope this is not too hard, but we may need to revisit this. Okay, look here, this is a tree diagram. I have certain fields that I use to predict the column, right? But, well, this is what I can do here. This is a target. I can click here and I can say edit driver. Then I can turn on and off the drivers, right? I can decide, perhaps I don't want to use, I have a column called total claim amount, which is what I'm predicting, but I also have another column called total claim, right? So I have to search for it. And okay, I forgot to add the space. Okay, total claim. Well, something like that. I'm not sure why it's not picking up. Well, if I find it, right? If I find it, I can uncheck it, okay? Well, anything, if I don't want to see it, if I don't want that column to be used as part of the predictions, I would have to go and find it here, and I would have to uncheck this checkbox, okay? Claim amount, there we go. Uncheck it. Visualization is gonna adjust, right? And I'm gonna save this, okay? Well, that decision tree, right? I showed you how to change the combination of targets. There is a video, there's 3 videos. One of them where I show that relationship diagram. Well, then there is also, I show you, and I need to show you the driver analysis. Okay, so now we're gonna do again new, single, and I'm gonna do choose type, and I'm gonna select driver analysis in this time. Well, I see this driver analysis as a bullseye diagram sliced. It's like you took it and sliced it. That's how I see it. But let's see, I'm gonna do the total. This is my search. I'm gonna do total claim amount. It's in here, right? Well, this is the total claim amount. I can just do this for right now. Well, oh, there we go. It finds this as a target. So that figured out for me that I want to look at the oh, what did I dragged and drop. Okay, there we go. I dragged and drop. I just realized that I did that. Okay, no problem. I dragged and dropped now. Well, take a look at this. This sounds familiar, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound familiar? The difference is that I cannot turn on and off, but well, does it sound familiar? When you have a one-way driver, it's a blue pin. Red pin are two-way drivers, and more than two-way drivers, right? 3, 4, etc. It's a green pin, right? Well, what you could also do is you can actually visualize. This is what you cannot do in the bullseye diagram. You can click here and you can visualize. Well, see this, I'm visualizing right now. This is a field, right? And here, this is actually, it's a value. This is employee status. Here has the lowest predictive strength, right? And here I'm just previewing visualization. Now I'm gonna do this as a two-way driver. The visualizations that you see is what is suitable for the data, okay? And if it's more than 2 drivers, that's gonna be a decision tree. So that's why you see decision tree in here, okay? Okay, I realized that this topic could be a little bit challenging when you first see it, but we will get through it, okay? Oh, well, okay, calculations. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna save this. I'm going to exit this, and I'm going to go back to my data module. Well, last time I showed you how to access data module from my content. This time, let's access it from recents. This is a tile. I just click on the tile and it will open. Calculation is nothing but a new column, right? Or, well, there are 2 types of calculations actually. The first calculation, it's called embedded calculation. It will be added as a column. Well, for example, I have the monthly premium, right? I have the monthly, but I can do annual. Okay. If you scroll down, there is a monthly monthly something premium, right? I want to do the annual. See this? Or well, or something like that. I can do. Okay. Well, basically the calculation is, it can be added as a new column or it can be embedded calculation. Like for example, suppose that I want to calculate the average total claim amount and I want to store it only once, right? You don't need to store it in every single row. You want to store it sometimes you create a calculations that you want stored only once, okay? You don't want to, perhaps if I'm computing the average claim amount as a calculation, I don't want to store that average claim amount in every single row, right? I want to store it once. Okay, now, first of all, let's look at the embedded calculations. That's mostly what you will use in this course. I'm going to do here, create new calculation. Well, what I wanted to do is, I believe it's like a monthly premium, something like that. Monthly, let's see if it returns anything. Monthly, come on. Oh, I'm silly. I put it in a calculation name instead of here, monthly. This is a search. Oops, monthly, I just saw it, okay. Okay, monthly premium auto. I'm gonna just do this. I'm gonna drag and drop, and I'm going to say this multiplied by 12. And in here, I'm gonna say annual premium auto, okay? Well, annual premium auto. This is a column. Well, this is gonna be new column, right? Well, this is a multiplication by 12. I understand that it's like always should be, there's almost no place where to make the syntax error, but we never know. I always validate this. Am I ready to click on the X to close this? No, I have to click OK. Okay. Okay. Now, what did we do? This is a calculation, annual premium auto that I just added. Okay. I can do another calculation. Suppose that I want to store total claim amount average, right? I want to store it only once. I don't want to store it with every single record, right? So now I'm going to go in here now and click calculation. But notice where I clicked above, right? I clicked above that source. And the calculation name, well, it's going to be this. I have to go to my functions, go to here, oops, not operators, this is a summary, average. And what do I want to do with the average? I want to do the average, let's go back to the field, and not the state code, but let's say total claim amount, overall average, right? And I have to name it as, calculation name is going to be total average total claim amount, okay? Claim amount. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do, I have to always to do what? Validate, right? It passed validation. Okay. Now what I'll do, I will have to click on OK. What did it do? I added it here. It appears only once because I created it as a standalone calculation. It's a standalone, right? And a standalone calculation may pull columns from this data, or it can pull from multiple data sets, which we're not using, but I'm just telling you, okay? You're not storing the average claim amount as many times as there are a number of rows in a data module, right? This is a standalone, okay? What we did here is embedded, right? And I could do, if I wanted to do perhaps average claim for the based on the policy type or something, here I would have to do the embedded, right? Because the value is not the same for each row, right? I have to store a value in every row. So in here, I'm going to go f of x, and I'm going to go to the summary, and I'm going to do the average. And here, well, there are a few things that I need to do in here. I want to do the columns, and I want to do the total claim amount, right? Total claim amount, but I want to do something else. I want to add 4, and I want to say perhaps policy type. What this will do is it's going to add a new column, and it's going to show the average. It's going to show the average claim amount for all rows with the same policy type. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do average claim amount. Claim amount by policy type, right? Well, you want to name everything as descriptive as you can by policy type. And in fact, you want to probably put the underscores. Well, I'll leave it up to you, but here I just named this column. I'm going to do the validation as always, it's passed. I'm going to save this, okay? Here, I'm not creating another standalone calculation, I'm creating the embedded calculation, it's here. I could also round it if I wanted to, okay? Well, you might be wondering why it's showing the same number, because these rows, I think they have the same policy type. But if I scroll down to a different policy type, I think this number should change because I'm looking at it by the policy type, right? Okay. And there are several policy types, right? So, well, okay. I mean, does it make sense? This will be stored in every row, okay? Because, yeah. Oh, another thing that is going on here, you have, well, annual premium amount, you also have a missing value. Where does it come from? Because if you have monthly premium value is missing, and you multiply the missing value by the 12, you're getting the missing value, okay? This is just something to keep in mind what's going on in here. I'm gonna save this, and I wanted to do more stuff, but please, guys, please, I know it's a long session, but I want you to kind of like get an idea of what was covered, and then you can drill more into the details. I have additional video on the data group. Basically, data group, in some books they call it discretization, in some books they call it binning. So basically, it's going to create another column, and the column is created as a grouping. Okay, and it's also going to add if the column that you're trying to group is numeric, it's going to add a hidden column that stores the bin number where the value falls into. Well, let's set this. Let's do this. I want to use the same column. What am I using? Number of policies. I'm using the number of policies in here to do this. So I'm going to find, in here, I'm going to find the number of policies. Okay. Well, in this one is a number of policies. I'm going to right click on this column. I'm going to also select create data group. Okay. Here it's named the column group. Okay. Well, take a look at this. Take a look at this. This is a range of values. Okay. I'm saying this. If it's above 8, then it's going to be 8 and above. Well, here is 6 to 2, 5 to 2, 3 to 5, and less than 3. See this? Those are the bins. For numeric column, it's going to define the bins for me. Okay. This is for numeric. You can change the number of bins. You can adjust the boundaries, etc. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click on create. Now let's do, this is a calculation for the numeric. And what I did was I spelled it out for you on the slides. It's going to do this, okay? It's just going to tell you in which bin the value falls under, okay? And the initial value and also the label of the group. group label, okay? You can also do the grouping for the categorical variable, but categorical column, but you have to specify the number of groups, right, on your own. You have to specify the number of groups. You see the set of values, and you need to assign the values to the group. Okay, so I'm going in on my here, and perhaps I want to do, this is a policy, right? I'm gonna do this here, and I'm gonna do create data group. And well, see this, I don't see it in the groups. It's because it's a categorical. I have to create my groups on my own. I'm gonna say this corporate, right? Corporate. And this is a group. I need to make sure I have this group selected. Those are my values. I can just select the values that fall under this group, right? This is fall under this group. Now I'm gonna add one more, and I'm gonna call this personal, right? Personal. Okay, now what I'll do is I'm gonna add this 3 to the personal, right? This is a personal. Now I'm going to create another group yet, and I'm gonna call this special, right? I must create my own groups. And if perhaps another vehicle type, another coverage type comes in, I would have to add a group. Okay, so now this is a special, and I'm going to add all of this into the special. At any time, if you change your mind, you have to click here, and you just click on this to remove it, okay? And you may also remove the group anytime you change your mind, okay? Here, well, this is just how it's gonna name my column for me. This is a remaining list of values, and there is nothing remaining. I'm going to click OK. And what this will do, well, it's gonna add another column, and you can look up what's going on. You can play around with the values. Well, see this is a policy, and I believe I did this like the column values are corporate something. I think it adds here. Well, this is a here. See, it added here. Policy group, corporate, and etc. Okay, it's different group based on a. Okay, this is different group based on how I defined it, right? I defined 3 groups, and I have it here. You have to define the groups. Just remember that, okay? Save. Can the columns be reordered? Excellent question. Yes. And let me actually do that. Thank you, Sean, for asking this, because it's actually easier to see. Like, see this is a policy group, and sometimes I want the columns to be next to each other because I want to verify how do I know that it did what I wanted to do. So I just drag and drop. It did drag and drop, or because I have to make sure that I selected it right. The columns, let me tell you this, the columns can be moved if they're not having a bad day. Or let's do this, I can do this. Let's see. I can do this, I did this. Now I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna find my policy, and I can just drag it here. I think this is easier to do it here, right? Well, let's say this can be done if the application has a good day. Sorry, sometimes it's good to love. Here, this policy group, I moved it here. Now I'm gonna look, I changed the order of columns, and it's easier to see that I did it correctly, right? Because you have to always validate what you do, right? So it might help to change the sorting, right? It is ascending, or you can do descending, because we want to see other policy types in here, okay? And counts, yeah, you can reorder counts, sure. Yeah, you can move side to side. Oh, you mean to sort? Yes, you can. Well, to sort, you just do what I did. See this error here? You can sort them, okay? Well, but it's gonna sort the whole data here. I moved the column, but you can do the sorting here. Like now I'm gonna do the descending. Well, you have to sometimes because you have to verify that the data actually did what you wanted to do, right? Did I answer the question? Did I answer? I hope I did. Because if I don't answer, oh, thank you. Because if I don't answer, feel free to ask again. Because the thing is, I don't see you. I don't see the nonverbal communication, so to speak. So, but I want to make sure that everybody who walks out from this lecture is learned something, right? Some takeaways. Okay, so we did this, and you will see this concept in other courses too, but here it might be easier to understand it this way than when you first see it in Python or R. Now we're gonna skip this. This is a little bit different order. I found that it's much easier to cover decision tree before going to the calculations, right? Well, I mean, you can do either way, but I found that the way I did it now is easier. Not being selfish, but you know. Okay, so now what we will do is I made a bunch of changes in here, right? You see this policy group, etc. I'm ready to return to my data exploration. I saved this, I'm going to close this. And what did I say you need to do? You have to do what? Reopen. This is exploration, right? It appears as a tile here. It's also going to be in the my content, and it also is going to be in recent. Okay, recent. All right. Can you show? Yes, I will show those videos. Okay. Yes, I will. Yes, definitely. Oh yes, definitely. I will show the videos. Another thing to watch out for, and this is very important because I made that mistake, guys. It happened 1 week ago. Look at this. If when you click here, there is a difference between delete and remove from recent. Please do not confuse yourself. Remove from recent does not delete the file. It only removes the file from the recent. When you do delete, it's gonna delete the file permanently. So guys, please remember the differences, remove from recent and delete. I accidentally selected delete. I thought, oh, it's gonna delete just from recent. No, and I lost something last week. As I was preparing for the session 2 in the other session 9040, 9041, the second class I was preparing, I accidentally deleted something and I had to redo, okay? So please bear in mind difference between remove from recent, okay? Now let's open the exploration and I'm going to show you, last thing is a comparison card. So here, this is for example, I have, well, here I have this total claim amount, average total claim amount. I'm looking at by marital status. Now let me do this. I can let me duplicate this, right? I'm gonna make a duplicate. So see this now, I have two visualization and I want to do the comparison. So I can do this. I can select this two. I'm selecting this two, right? Ooh. If it has a good day, then I can do it. Okay, there we go. Oof, okay. Now what I'm gonna do in here, I'm gonna do compare and it's gonna create a card with two visualization. Now the same thing, but it's not gonna be the same. I'm gonna do something to it now. See this here, I selected this. I'm gonna go to the data slots and here I want to look at the fields, right? And I want to search and I want to find my, is there like a gender something? Gender. I'm going to find the gender. Now, it should work if this thing behaves. And this is going to be, this is a local filter. Okay, I'm going to drag and drop that guy. Please listen to me now. Okay, local filters. Bang. Okay, it listened. I want to select female. This is a female. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, and I'm going to add the same local filter again. Please listen to me. See that, look, I have to make sure that this thing is highlighted. See? Yes, I'm going to click. Yay! I'm going to click on male. So today it cooperated. Well, here, what it does here, it lets me just compare the males. see this total claim by if it's a marital status and gender, right? I can just select the data point here, etc. Right? It just giving me comparison. Because sometimes I want to see, does the gender have an impact on a total claim amount, right? Or etc. Right? Who happens to have a higher total claim amount? Single man or single woman? Something like that. And just an example, okay? So that was a comparison, and okay, this is how to save the exploration, and I'll show you that already, right? Short videos, yes, this is one of the slides. Well, okay, this is a present. This link will be in the slide, it's also in the classroom. This is a set of videos that I created, okay? Well, for example, a student, he asked how to handle the missing values in categorical columns, for example. The student asked this question, if I could show. What I did was I recorded the video and then I said, aha, if the student asked me a question, maybe other students have the same question, maybe they could watch this video also. So what I did was I created this playlist and I put the videos that I created here. Some of them were student requests, some of them were something that I felt is needed. Maybe some areas that I should have covered more in a session, but you can't cover everything, you know. Well, those are the videos. So you want to watch them starting from the first one, and you want to go all the way to, well, you don't want to do yet dashboard. You don't want to do the dashboards, but up to the dashboard, right? And secretly, your assignment 3 is this. See this is a driver analysis, decision tree. Then we look at the sunburst in details, okay? Well, this is for your assignment 3. This is going to be your lifesaver for assignment 3. Yeah, I think students found them helpful because, first of all, you don't need to go through the whole recording of the session to find where I covered this, right? Well, and second, it's an isolation, but it's using the same data set, and you may see a little bit of the connections, because I can say something like, in the other video, we looked at how we do this and this. Now we look at that. You know, you're going to see. So, but for example, if you missed one video and I'm referring to it in a current videos that you're watching, you're going to know that you need to go back, right? Well, and this one is, you asked to do some of the visualizations. Assignment 2, there will be some visualizations that you need to pick. And I just given you example of crosstab, okay? Another clarification is this. I did a comparison card, right? But this is not what you're asked to do in the assignment due next week. When you're told to do the comparison visualization, what it means is this: you go to choose type, and so the last question on that assignment is asking you to select any of this. You're given a choice. You may select any of this, right? But you have to like interpret the findings, which columns you chose to visualize, and etc. Right? The last question is for you to choose. Basically, the idea here, you are showing that you're familiar that there are different visualization types and that you know how to select what might be suitable for your data, right? For the columns that you want to see. Well, this is just in general. The idea is to show the instructors that you access the system. Well, I can, as an administrator, I have a way to see when was your last login time in the session or when your profile was last modified. I have this power as an administrator, but at the same time, well, this is what's going to happen. If I see that you have not accessed the system for a long time and you are enrolled, I have to let the instructor know. Well, the instructor will probably know that you're not submitting the work, but on my end as an administrator, to help the instructor make some decisions, I'm going to tell her, hey, look, your student with this name has not accessed the system for a certain number of times. Sometimes I do it, especially when I assign you to groups. If I see you not accessing the system for a week or two, I have to let the instructor know, okay? Well, it's just a matter of letting you know. How is it going to affect you? I don't know, but I need to make sure that instructor aware of such type of things, okay? Now, what you will do after this, if you haven't checked your account, you need to check. If you don't see the Cognos, then you need to submit the ticket, and I need to let Abel know the case number, and he'll need to escalate this, because this is the irony. They run the script based on the enrollment. But if there's issue with accessing, well, if there's an issue with seeing Cognos shortcut, they have to do this. But if there is an issue, if you see the Cognos account, you see the application shortcut, but you have problems with actually accessing your account, then it's me. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to tell you. Look, well, this is very important. You not only should be able to log in, but in this folder, make sure that you see the subfolders. If you don't, then you need to submit the case, Salesforce case. Abel is going to pass it to me because I have to fix this. Fixing this is a no-brainer, okay, for me. If you don't see this, fixing this is a no-brainer. But you need to report this, okay? So make sure that you see the subfolders. If you don't, just let me know, okay? So how do you access and submit? Oh, well, what you need to submit is you need to submit the assignment. Oh, you mean you access? I'm sorry, I'm confused. I'm trying to see, what do you need to submit? Submit the case, or what are you asking? What's the question? Submit what? The assignments are not misnumbered. I'll explain to you. Because, well, assignment 2 is locked. You cannot see it. And the reason you cannot see it because it has a precondition, okay? You submit the assignment into assignment folder. There is an assignment folder, but it says on there, it says what you need to submit. You need to submit a Word document, and you need to include screenshot that tells you what you need to do. But there is an assignment folder for each assignment in Leo, right? There is a folder. It's a, well, another terminology is a Dropbox, because Leo is a customization of D2L system, Desire to Learn, and it's also called Dropbox, right? Next assignment, yes. There will be assignment 2, but okay. Well, yesterday was assignment 1 that was due, right? Yesterday, assignment 1 was due. Yes, that was yesterday. But this is a pre-assignment. It's not actual assignment 2, it's a pre-assignment, let's say it this way. Preparation assignment. It set the stage for assignment 2. It's like a prerequisite, okay? So assignment 2, you're not gonna see it until you complete this, okay? To unlock assignment 2, you need to do this. If you look in the class and Professor Moreta, you'll probably see it, right? There is a release condition, and release condition is this: you have to complete this assignment, right? So it unlocks, it may unlock as early as today, as long as you completed this assignment. Yeah.
Yelena, can I say something? So
Yes.
yesterday was assignment 1. The next one due is what we call IBM exercises. That's what Yelena is referring to as the pre-assignment to assignment 2. It's like worth 3%, and it just shows that you can log in and maneuver a little bit in the tool. But I don't know if I should say the problem, but the challenge with that is assignment 2 is not open unless you finish the exercise assignment. So the recommendation is that you do that as soon as possible, because we don't have a lot of time. Assignment 2 is due in 2 weeks. Over.
Yeah.
Does that help?
And because, well, yeah, if we don't do this, you're gonna see, oh, wait a minute, this is only 3% of the course grade, and this is 15 or whatever it is. Well, I'm making hypothetical 15, but this is worth more. Let me jump to it first. You see, it's a temptation. It's just a temptation that is hard to resist. You see 2 assignments, and you're gonna say, oh, wait a minute, this is worth more point. Let me jump on it. And you're gonna do what, how? You're not going to be able to do it. You'll be confused because you don't know how to access the application, right? You don't know where to find the data, right? So just to help you, we decided to hide assignment 2 until we do this, because you're going to see it's worth more points, and you're going to, it's a temptation to jump into it. I was a student. I did something along that line too. And I say, oh, wait a minute, I wish the teacher could hide it until I submit this because, you know, and you'll see this later in the course too. You have to show that you know how to access, because if you don't know how to access the system, what you're going to do with assignment 2? You're going to be, oh my God, where do I go? Oh, where? Am I going to this, what you call the software that you used last time? Or am I going to somewhere else on the VDI? This is huge. What am I doing? And you're gonna say, okay, well, let's see. What is my password? Is it the same as Leo? Or is it the same as my personal Google Mail account? Well, I'm making fun. I'm just making it up, right? Then you're gonna see, oh, wait a minute, where is the data? I'm looking for it right now. Map content. I don't see it. Where is it? No. Is it in recent? No. Oh, wait a minute. Elena was showing us data, but I cannot access Elena's account. Wait, is it on Elena's account? No. Oh, wait a minute. It's team content, but I don't see anything in there. How come? If you got to that point where you're working on assignment 2 and you don't see anything, you should have reported it, because there are two things here involved. First thing is your account that allows you to log in, right? And allows you to do stuff with your content. That's an account. The second thing that's going on in Cognos, those things in the team content, this is what you can see is determined by the group membership. You're going to have a group project later on. You'll be assigned to the team with your classmates, right? But there is something different. There is also a group called everyone in the data 610. I had to define the permissions at that group level, and I had to add you. See what I'm saying? So there are two steps. That's why I'm asking you to check, make sure you see it. Because there are two steps. One thing is that you can access your account, and this is a separate steps that I had to do to make sure that you see this, okay? Because the permissions are at the group level, and the students are added to the group. It's not added to a student individually. I have to add you to this. And when I create accounts, once in a while, things happen. I either forget to click apply button or something like that. Something happens, And usually it does not happen a lot. It did not happen to anybody in session 9040, 9041. Did not happen. Everything was perfect. Hopefully it's the case here too. But let's say today is assignment 2 is due, and you're telling me now that you cannot see all these files. Oh, it's late. It's late. It's too late. You have to really make sure you have access at least. Okay, do it right now. I mean, as soon as you're off this session, make sure that you have it. Just I know it's a lot of information, but you'll see why. Okay, you'll see that later. Okay. Questions? I know it's a long session. Yes, you will get the slides. Yes. Sorry. So I need to get this. I'll get this recording, and since it's a 2-hour recording, it's gonna take a little bit of time until I get it. So, and then I have to do some processing to get it on YouTube. But since it's a 2-hour recording, I'll have to wait sometimes up to half an hour before I get the recording. It has to do with how it's processed in the Zoom site. Okay. So, anything else? Any other questions? No? Okay. And I want to say a special thank you to one of your students. I believe it was Christine. I want to tell her special thank you for testing to make sure that the accounts work. So, well, she was just a tester to make sure that the setup worked, because who knows what they did, right? Because we want to make sure that you could get to VGA also. Because I do the Cognos part, and they run the agronomy, or whoever is handle this. Well, what they do was this. They take the registration. Based on that, they run a script to create those VDA accounts. Okay, and they have to put you on a citrix site, and then I take and do the Cognos. Okay, so hopefully it makes sense. I know it's a little bit complicated. Okay, so it's So very special thank you to one of our testers. Okay. Now, anything else that I should have told you? Sure. Anything else? So I'm gonna send this to both instructors and copy your TA, right? Okay. So okay, and thank you everybody for attending. Excellent. I'm gonna end this recording. I'm gonna stop sharing, and as soon as the recording is ready, I'm gonna be processing. Okay, most welcome. And we're gonna have another session in 8 weeks. So look, watch out for announcement. Okay, there will be announcement. Okay, so I'm gonna end this recording. Okay, where is it? Stop recording. Okay.